Welcome to the Hobby School podcast. Whether you're a seasoned hobbyist or just getting started, Hobby School is the perfect place to learn something new. My name is Dr. Destiny Kopp, and I'm your host of the podcast. But before we jump into our episode for today, the only thing I ask is that if you enjoyed the episode, please share with a friend and give us an honest review on your favorite podcast platform. This helps us get out the content to more people. I also want to invite you to get on our wait list for our next Hobby School Online Learning Summit. These are free to attend, and you can find the link to join at hobbyschool.com, which is also in our podcast show notes. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. And today, my special guest is Cindy Newland with Intentionally Eat. I am super excited to chat with Cindy today because we're going to be talking about starting a plant-based diet for your health. And Cindy, I am so interested in this topic myself. I love eating like fruits and vegetables, but I've never really understood how I could make that really just my diet itself. So I'm excited to jump in here, chat with you a little bit more about this. But before we begin all the questions, can you tell the audience a little bit more about you, your journey, and how you help people?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks, Destiny, for having me on. I'm really excited about this topic. So back in 2001, I had a back injury and it left me immobile for more than a month. And that was my wake-up call. I realized I had put myself in that position. I was extremely unhealthy. I was a couch potato, and I had created my own issues. So once I was able to move and function, I decided I needed to make some changes. And over the course of about 4 years, I lost 125 pounds, and I've kept it off ever since. I became a personal trainer and health coach, and now I enjoy plant-based eating, and I help teach others how they can change their lives by eating a plant-based diet.
So 125 pounds, that is a lot. That's almost a whole person.
Yeah.
So, and you said it took you 4 years to do that.
Yes. Yep. It was slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race. It definitely wasn't 15 pounds in a week like some television shows would lead you to believe. Mm-hmm. But that's how I believe that I have kept it off all of these years, because it was a lifestyle change.
Well, tell us a little bit more about that. It took you 4 years, but you kept at it, and and there's probably some mindset stuff in there too, I would gather. But can you go into a little bit more detail about how you did that over the course of 4 years?
Sure. So I have my own way of leading people through that type of a change, and I call it small bites. So it's one step at a time will begin to lead you to that lifestyle change. It's not an overnight change, and it's not a flip of a switch. You have to be slow and steady and methodical. So the first thing that I focused on was moving more, or exercising. And I was the kid that got the note to get out of PE. I hated exercise. It was a dirty word. But I realized that in order to feel good and in order to make these type of changes, I needed to move more. And that didn't mean I had to run a marathon, although I did. It just simply meant find something that I like to do on a regular basis. So that's what I started with. And once I didn't lose 15 pounds in a day from doing that, I realized, all right, we're going to have to start looking at what I'm eating. And I started paying attention to that. I started to incorporate more fruits and vegetables. So rather than focusing on what I couldn't have, I focused on what I could have, and I started nourishing myself. So I encourage people to aim for 8 a day. 8 fruits and vegetables. It could be a slice of a cucumber, a cherry tomato, a half a peach. Those could count as one item. It doesn't have to be what some people consider a complete serving. Just start small. Those small bites will get you to where you want to be.
So I love what you said there. I didn't focus on what I couldn't have. I focused on what I could have. And I think
Exactly.
that is so very powerful. So I have to ask you, what do you eat in a typical day to keep this, you had this, huge weight loss and you kept it off. Oh, I guess you mentioned 2001. So it's been close to 20 years where you kept it off. So tell us a little bit about what do you eat typically?
Sure. And I still have to focus on keeping it off. This is a lifestyle change that will happen for life because we want to be healthy for life. So I focus on still eating 8 a day. I try to get in as many fruits and vegetables as I can. So I like toast in the morning. I'm just kind of a same thing every day for breakfast kind of a gal. I like toast with almond butter and chia seed jam. So I get a serving of fruit there. I'll have maybe some fruit for a snack. I definitely have quite a few salads, but that's not my main course on a given day. I love palmini noodles and spaghetti sauce and mushrooms. I love stir fries. I check out my site and you'll find all the recipes that I love because I never make anything I don't enjoy eating. I'm definitely not going hungry.
So you don't eat any meat, right? It's a completely plant-based diet. Can you tell us a little bit more about the benefits of a plant-based diet? And I'm making an assumption. I'm making an assumption that you don't have any meat. So you're getting protein from somewhere. Can you tell us some of the benefits of a plant-based diet? And, if we wanted to get started, where would we go?
Mm-hmm. You are correct. I don't eat meat. I have no dairy, no meat, and I have been eating a plant-based diet since 2010. So I get protein from every other source of food. So the only things that really don't have a lot of protein is fruit. Vegetables, beans, nuts, seeds, those all have protein, and that's where I get all of my protein from. So since I've been doing this since 2010, I obviously have not wasted away. I'm not protein deficient. You can absolutely get protein from plants, and it is the best source of protein. There's no cholesterol. It's low fat. My family has a history of diabetes, of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, cancer, heart disease, and a plant-based diet takes care of all of those issues. So I focus on eating for my health, knowing that all of those items run in my family as they do in most people's families. My mother died from colon cancer. That is, as they know now, at least 80%, you can avoid that through diet and exercise. And her diet was horrific. So she would eat one meal a day and it was mainly meat. So I have chosen to eat according to my health goals.
So let's just say that somebody wants to get started and they like for me, you can use me as your guinea pig here, if you would. I wouldn't know where to get started with this. I'm not even sure, does this include eggs? I think it does, but I may be wrong. And what's the difference between excluding dairy versus meat? Can you kind of go into some of those details?
Sure. So my version of plant-based, which typically 100% plant-based. There are no eggs, there's no dairy, there's no cheese, no animal products whatsoever. Now, there are some people who incorporate eggs and sometimes on occasion meat into their plant-based lifestyle. That's a personal choice. And again, it's eating for your health goals. So, but that being said, I don't have eggs or dairy in my diet. And dairy is actually one of the number one causes of health-related issues. So I really encourage people to eliminate dairy as much as possible from their diets. To get started with that is, again, going back to that small bites mentality. Let's just take this a meal at a time, maybe. Let's make breakfast plant-based, or lunch or dinner or whatever is the easiest meal for you to make plant-based, and focus on that. Or focus on incorporating those 8 different fruits and vegetables a day and squeezing out, as I like to call it, squeezing out the meat, right? Eliminating the meat through incorporating more plants and making it easier for you. So on my site, Intentionally Eat, I have meal plans where I will walk you through breakfast, lunch, dinner, all the snacks, all the desserts. I'll give you the recipes. I will hold your hand and take you through each week and give you all kinds of ideas about what you could eat. Or you can go it on your own and check out some of the recipes that I have there and start incorporating a few for yourself. And maybe you start with that Meatless Monday idea, or maybe you end up doing more than just one day a week.
And I love what the tip that you gave there. Just start with breakfast or start with like a Meatless Monday. That, to me, that makes it so much easier. And I think as as people get used to it, it's easier to say, oh, I'll add lunch, or, oh, I'll add dinner, or, oh, I'll do mostly plant-based, except maybe when I go out to dinner on Saturday night or whatever. So that's a great tip.
Exactly. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and you start to recognize this is delicious. This is an incredibly satisfying way to eat, and it's not deprivation. It's actually, in my opinion, I've given up maybe 3 different animal sources, and I'm eating probably at least 300 more fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans. I'm eating way more food, and I'm trying a different variety than I ever would have from eating meat.
So, Cindy, let me ask you this. Are there any pitfalls that people should be aware of when they move into or starting a plant-based diet?
Yeah, I think there's a couple. I think people will, they don't understand, and so they can sometimes become a little bit negative about it. But you just have to recognize what your goal is. Are you doing this for your health? And if so, why does someone else's opinion matter to you? And then the other thing, we can let ourselves sometimes become overwhelmed or thinking that we have to be perfect with this. If we have a slip up, quote unquote, oh, I've blown it and I might as well just, eat crazy and start over in 2 weeks. There's no start or stop. It's just, there's always another meal, right? You can make a better choice at the next meal, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't have to eat salad every single meal. You can explore, you can have fun. You can go to the store, buy something you've never bought before, research how to cook it, how to eat it, and have fun with this.
So I like what you said about you don't have to be perfect. There's no start or stop. It's just, you can just make the change in the next meal.
Exactly.
And that's perfect. So Cindy, people who are listening here, I know they're going to want to know more about how to start a plant-based diet. Can you tell them where they can find you? And I believe you have a free gift for the audience too.
Yeah, I absolutely do. So they can go to intentionallyeat.com and they can get started there. And I have a free recipe cookbook for them. It's got over 18 different breakfasts that they can choose from. Some are super simple, some are more of your weekend brunch, delicious protein packed waffles, and they can enjoy that and get that for free on my site, intentionallyeat.com.
And we'll make sure that that link is in the show notes so people can just click on it and go right to your website. Cindy, thank you so much for joining me and all of your tips on how to start a plant-based diet.
Thanks, Destiny.
Thank you so much for listening today. Don't forget to sign up for the waitlist so you'll be the first to know when our next free HobbyScool online learning summit launches. The link is in the show notes for this episode, or you can go to hobbyschool.com, and that's HobbyScool with school without an H in it. Talk soon.